So let's quickly show you how the spring playoffs and summer promotion tournament all works. It's a little bit complicated, so bear with me. So starting off, for the playoff teams, ranked 1 and 2 will immediately qualify for the summer split, as well as move to the semi-finals for the playoffs. You can see them right now. FNatic and Gambit sat there. Third plays 6th, which is currently SK Gaming and Copenhagen Wolves, and fourth plays 5th, which is currently Evil Geniuses versus Against All Authority. You can see EG and AAA, they'd progress and play Gambit. SK and Copenhagen Wolves progress to play FNatic. So, the losers of the quarterfinals, as I've just mentioned, will be playing those guys. But, more importantly, 7th and 8th place teams will be moving to the summer promotion tournament, which is a whole different ball game. That will be happening in 2 weeks' time. Playoffs are next week, summer promotion tournament, 2 weeks' time. You with me right so far? Okay, that's the start of May. Good.
I'm with you, Demon.
Yeah, it's good. It's good that you are. That tournament, of course, will also feature 8 additional Challenger Circuit teams. As you can see on the graphic, we have multiple stages to the promotion tournament. The first 4 amateur teams, which it says amateur 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., they have earned their spot from Lille. So that is Meet Your Makers and Team Alternate. Also, the ESL Go for LOL places, 2 teams came from that, and they will battle against the top 4 teams from last week's Challenger Circuit qualifiers, which are not populated right now, but I can tell you that there's Team TCM Gaming are in there. I think they were the number 1, so they'd be down the bottom versus number 4, etc. And Dexter is actually evil. They'd be playing against Meet Your Makers in that top slot. There's a number of teams in there. They will get populated. You'll be able to check it out on the website. Don't worry about it. So they are the 12 teams. They're going to be coming from the summer promotion tournament. They're all going to be competing for the 4 spots in the summer split of the League of Legends Championship Series. So potentially, you see them going through. They're going to be playing against LCS 7th and 8th place. You can see it on that graphic, as well as the losers of the quarterfinals. So that's potentially Evil Geniuses, Against All Authorities, SK Gaming, and Copenhagen Wolves currently. So we could potentially see all 4 of those teams drop out of the LCS and 4 brand new teams come in. Or nothing could happen. They could all win themselves. It's a best of 5 when they're at that stage, so generally, you would think the advantage is with the LCS teams. They've been in the best league currently in Europe, so you would expect them to win that games. But who knows? Who the hell wants to face Meet Your Makers? That's the big question.
Not me.
Not me, no.
I mean, pretty much in the next 3 weeks, we're going to have so many games for you to watch, so much excitement, and make sure to, pretty much lock down those times. Say, hey guys, I'm not going to my room tonight. I'm going to get all this food. I'm going to sit here in my bed and watch. I'm not going anywhere to watch all these matches because it's going to shape how the summer split's going to go, and it's going to be an exciting summer.
Yeah, so that is what is to come. This is, of course, Super Week, so don't worry. There's still a hell of a lot of games to go. We've gone through 3 games. That's all. We've got 17 more to come. 3 more today. Whew, 6 more. I don't want to panic, Joe and Quickshot. There is 3 more to come today, 6 games tomorrow, and 8 games on Sunday. Don't forget, also, in North America, there's 8 games to come tonight in North America. So everything will be shaping up beautifully in the LCS. Don't forget, also, LPL, that happens in China in the morning for us in European. Americans, tough. You're probably not going to really watch that because it's at crazy hours for you guys, as well as the OGN. There's so much happening. And we want to get the party started once again because we're going to get into match 4. It will be Against All Authority. Tell a lie. It's FNatic versus SK Gaming. We're on to the big boys right now. This is El Clasico. It's all over once again. Trevor Quickshot Henry and Joe Miller will be taking you through the action for the next 3 games.
Thanks, guys. Match 4 of Super Week will be none other than the final showing of El Clasico, FNatic versus SK Gaming. Now, SK have a woeful record against FNatic in offline matches. They're currently 0 for 17 against them overall. However, this is a similar situation to what we had last week when SK found themselves up against Gambit. They were 0 for 12, I believe it was, coming into that one. So maybe it's a good omen for SK Gaming this time around.
Well, we'll have to see because it is a very, very difficult record to improve upon. But if there's any team that has been improving, it has, of course, been SK. They've gotten rid of those shaky performances that we've seen recently. And like you said, with that resounding win, the question we've just asked, can they do it again when challenging FNatic? EG did it last weekend. We've already seen the SK play Dragonborns earlier today, and they looked absolutely fantastic. They controlled their opponents, and they never let the Dragonborns poke composition get into full swing, never let them really poke them down. For SK Gaming, every single loss puts them closer to the Evil Geniuses and possibly battling them for that 4th place position at the end of this week. To get the preferred seed of 3rd versus 6th in that playoff bracket that we've just seen, they'll need to defeat FNatic and ensure that their win-loss record remains above the Evil Geniuses.
So with all that said and done, let's have a look at the 2 lineups for these teams. Of course, very familiar to you by now. So on the blue team, FNatic with SOAS, Cyanide, XPeke, Yellowstar, and N-Rated.
And of course, for SK Gaming, Kevin, Hercubot, Ocelot, Candy Panda, and Nif.
So let's have a bit more of an in-depth look then, pick out the key players for these 2 teams. Starting with FNatic, you just heard that official announcement for our All-Star team, and we've got one of the best European representatives in that for this very match. SOAS from FNatic, he's had some of the best statistics up until now in the LCS.
So statistics, this is leading up to this week. The highest KDA out of all top laners. Hence the reason he's the All-Star. Highest GPM out of all top laners, 341 gold per minute. That is 14 gold per minute ahead of the 2nd place Kevin, who is a direct lane opponent. Earlier in the week, we've seen the video as well. He defeated Wicked 3 versus 2 in their insanely epic 1v1 challenge, which drew 144,000 viewers at its peak. And we've also heard SOAS does not like 1v2 situations. He's come out and said, look, I don't know why we do it. I don't like being in those situations, and I actually prefer to just go head-to-head.
Well, for SK Gaming, we've got to highlight Hercubot. He's died a mere 41 times. I put a disclaimer in that was up until this week, out of a total of 23 games. By picking great times, to be honest, to engage, not really overextending, he's definitely one of the higher impact junglers in the league.
Now, if memory serves me, he went 0-0-13 in the game, which would make that 41 deaths in 24 games.
So it got even more impressive.
Even better.
Stat.
That insanely low death count means that his engagements are always perfect with limited risk. We've seen it last week against Gambit. He would literally dive in with Cataclysm with his Jarvan in the 4th and completely lock out his opponents, allowing his team to roll away. He's currently got the highest KDA out of all European junglers, and he's actually, he's consistently strong in all of his performances with all of his junglers. It doesn't matter who he plays, he always puts in that good performance, hence his low death cap. And as we mentioned already, Jarvan the 4 is particularly strong on. If they don't ban it out, you can expect him to pick that one up. Finally, it's up to him to get those solo lane ganks going so he can give either Kevin or Ocelot that good start that they need to repeat the performance of defeating Gambit last weekend in this game against FNatic.
So as we start to move in towards the bans and picks, what can we expect from this one, apart from an Uno in that top lane for SOAS, obviously?
Well, we'll see if SOAS is going to pull it up. We've actually seen him using it in a scrim, so it wouldn't surprise me that much. In terms of bans, you've got the high priority picks, the likes of Twisted Fate, Zed, Jarvan. I would even maybe go so far as to say Varus against Yellowstar. It's a champion that he's been playing a lot of, and he may then decide to fall back to Misfortune. So you've got those options available. N-Rated and Nif have got slightly different champion pools as far as the support goes, but we know that N-Rated tends to draw bans. So we've seen Leona bans targeted at him, and that also wouldn't surprise me.
Well, we are going to get in there in a second. You see on your screens FNatic and SK previously looking very, very focused for this one. We've called it El Clasico before. We, of course, saw that amazing game back at Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, which got Peke his famous backdooring name, and everyone's been trying to do it, some with success, as we saw from Froggen in that last week of play. SK, as per usual, very, very focused in here. You can see Ocelot with his famous playbook that is probably worth a lot of money in the grand scheme of things, if especially for his opponents, if they could have a read about what SK are going to be planning for these games. But we are going to be getting into the bans and the picks. Of course, FNatic are on blue side, and as such will have the first ban and the first pick, and there is Cyanide just topping himself up, getting ready for the game.
This is also the last time that these two teams will meet this split. Current record is 3-0 in favor of FNatic, and they want to try hold that 17-0 win streak over SK Gaming. El Clasico, I don't know about the Real Madrid and Barcelona scores, but I don't think it's that one-sided.
It's not quite that one-sided. But despite that 0-17, we've seen some extremely good games between these two. But let's get into the bans then. First ban coming out from FNatic was Kale. They banned out Thresh as well in their second pick. Twisted Fate and Nasus here aimed towards FNatic, so taking out Twisted Fate for XPeke and Cyanide with the dock.
So you've got the direct targeted bans, the support, jungler, and then of course the mid laners. They don't don't want Ocelot to get his Kale, who we played earlier in the day and did very, very well with. And you obviously don't want Expected being able to backdoor you with that Twisted Fate pick. So Zed is still available. Volibear is here. We have not seen him in the first 3 games of the day, and he's just been banned out. His Q was nerfed in this particular patch, so his low-level speed increase from that Rolling Thunder is not as impactful.
Yeah, and could be the reason why he's not really been featured much, or at all, actually, in our first 3 games up until now, with him being banned out. So let's have a look then what first pick is. There's a lot left open here.
There is a lot of champions here. Shen is still available for pick if Kevin decides to go that route. We have seen him running Shen a number of times this weekend. Elise was the first lock-in for FNatic, but in terms of all of the high-priority champions, you have Zed that is still there. In terms of our junglers, this is going to be the interesting one to see because the norms of Jarvan, Nasus, and Volibear are gone. So we've seen Nautilus out of Evil Geniuses earlier in the day. We've seen Hecarim a number of times this split. But in terms of your traditional junglers, the go-to ones, they're not there or available.
Well, let's see then. It looks like we're going to be seeing a Janna Varus lane picked up here from SK Gaming. I have to admit, wasn't expecting a Janna.
No, now Janna's a support pick we don't see very often, but I know in the solo queue, higher elos, AP Janna is somewhat of a trend right now in the sort of the Platinum and the Diamond queues. So I'm not 100% convinced it's going to be Varus on the Janna Varus the bottom lane. If it is, the synergy is great. That Eye of the Storm, Janna's E, adds up to 50 attack damage at max rank, and Varus's ability scale of bonus 80 so incredibly well. So it will work very, very well if they do stick that combo in the bottom lane.
So let's have a look then at the picks here for FNatic. Urgot, just to bring up some statistics there, it's been played once so far in the European LCS, and he's won 1 game, which obviously means he's the best champion around, maybe.
100%. 100% win-loss ratio for Urgot. We have seen Urgot 2 days ago in North America. It was actually run in a Urgot Kale bottom lane, which was very, very interesting. So we'll see if this Urgot does get locked in. FNatic have run Urgot in the past, and if this is going to be an Urgot Blitzcrank lane, the amount of swaps and then pulls is very, very scary.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous it could be once they get to level 6. You never know where you're going to land after all that comes in. But let's have a look then what SK are going to be going for after this one. Obviously, for me, jungle is one of the more interesting points in the picks here because of the bans that we've got.
I'm very glad you said that because FNatic have also shown with Elise there, Elise could be in the jungle. Elise could be in the top lane. Elise could even be support in this particular situation. I don't know if Expected actually likes to play her, so I wouldn't put my money on her being in the mid lane. With Blitzcrank being locked in and Leona still available, we've already seen Soaz running Blitz once this split. It was, of course, to counter Evil Geniuses in a very targeted type of composition, so the possibility is there. Over on the other side for SK Gaming, they've got a lot of decisions to make. If they're going to stick to the trend of allowing Ocelot to counter pick, we're going to see the jungler and or mid/top laner being locked in right now.
Well, let's see. Currently Rumble and Irelia and Shen. So that's going to be Irelia top lane and Shen in the jungle for her Q-bot by the looks of it.
Yeah, that's the way I would also work on it. And, you know, as a trend, SK Gaming, whenever they play red side, they almost always allow Ocelot to counter pick as his final champion to lock in. So if that is going to be the trend, they're going to see now who FNatic decides to lock in as their last 2 and make some educated guesses. Interestingly, Kevin is the only player that's currently running Irelia up in that top lane, pretty much internationally. This is a champion that has somewhat fallen off in Season 3, and Kevin just builds a completely tanky. Just goes, you know, Warmogs, Sunfire, Randuins, and pretty much relies on that heat and style true damage to be his only damage source.
So FNatic right now hovering over Mundo, who, you know, is not one of the more popular ones out there, but we have been seeing him at unregular intervals, I guess you can say, throughout the season. And well, you can expect some different picks to come out for the jungle just due to the fact that we do have those bans in there, and there is an Ezreal as well.
So that's going to be AP Ezreal for Peke. That's my first guess. That's going to be Mundo in the jungle, Elise top lane with an Urgot Blitzcrank bottom lane. That's where my money would go for this particular comp. What FNatic have done is they've got a little bit of everything. They've got very tanky champions. They've got very mobile champions with Elise, with Mundo, with Ezreal. And then they've got the displacement that can come from either Urgot or Blitzcrank. Those flash position reversal engages can be terrifying. And you can see with the look on Nif's face is this awkward grin of, we did not anticipate this. Like, what did we do? This was, you know, unexpected. And
that's straight out of the back page of Ocelot's playbook. Like, can't do that, can't do that, can't. There we go then. That's what lineup we're going for this time around. But let's have a look then. what they're going to go with this time around. That's a big question here. Where is that Janna going to go? Will it be the support for Varus, or will Ocelot pick it up for that middle lane?
Well, he's got a lot of choices available to him because there's a huge array of champions. If he is locking in the Lux, it means he's going to be able to at least counter the likes of Blitzcrank, Mundo, at least when they come in, land that light binding and hold them in place. But again, now for the SK side, you've got some pretty clear differences. Super tanky Shen, super tanky Aurelia, they're going to be very beefy and reliant on the initiations unless a good light binding actually catches somebody out. At the moment, Hercubot's sitting with jungle Aurelia, but I do expect that to swap.
Some very, very interesting ones for this one. FNatic, of course, 17 for 0 in all LAN games against SK Gaming. Like we said, we call it El Clasico simply because the games have been great that we've seen between these two teams. In terms of scoreline, though, not quite the most even matchup that we have here in that LCS. FNatic, of course, in the LCS season itself, 3 for 0 against SK, with this being the last showing.
And talking about that as well, even though the matches are always, in favor of FNatic winning, that's not how the game actually plays out. They bounce back and forth, and many, many times in the past, SK Gaming have actually been in the lead in the opening and mid-game of the match. So we'll see if they can replicate it. Both teams have the ability to scale very well into the mid-game, as well as having good team fight potential. I do feel that there's going to be a lot of pressure on Nif's Janna. He's going to be very reliant on those Howling Gales to either cancel or interrupt those position reverses and also get rid of anybody that runs into range. Dr. Mundo has to quite literally run up to you and tap you on the shoulder before he can deal damage, and Janna's pretty good at getting rid of somebody like that.
Yeah, and he taps hard if he manages to get to your shoulder, that's for sure. But one thing that's interesting here, we'll have to have a look in game Ezreal. So we saw earlier on in the season that Peke played a Caitlyn in that middle lane. Now, that, when you see Ezreal in there, you'd automatically think, okay, it's going to be an AP Ezreal. But that may not be quite the case here. As I said, we'll have a look later. He's running the Flash Cleanse at the moment, going up against Ocelot's Lux in this middle lane. You see there the focus on both teams. So as it looking, concentrated but relaxed, I think we can call it at this point.
So there's quite a lot on the line. FNatic, in order to secure a top 2 position, need to just pick up 1 win out of 5 games, and they'd like to pick it up right now. If they win this match, they are guaranteed top 2 and going into the summer split, going to semi-finals. They've picked somewhat of an oddball composition, and we've actually seen XPeke running AP Ezreal before in the past, and he's currently got no ability power on his rune page at the moment. 6% lifesteal, and he's gone... let me just scroll over here. There we go. Swapped over. Yeah, so same again. Armor penetration and attack speed glyphs. So he's not AP. He hasn't ruined or mastered up for ability power, so he might be doing something different, like we've seen from that Caitlyn in the mid.
But, of course, that could all change once we go further. That could just be for his pure power in that lane phase here up against Lux. We can see on your screens there, SK Gaming headed down on the bottom side of the FNatic jungle. We'll see if they stick around for that one. Going to be a very deep invade towards going down on that south side curve bush, one up on the Wraith bush as well. So SK going to have a lot of vision here of that FNatic jungle. The question is whether FNatic at this point are going to go and try the same over on the top side.
FNatic have just gotten full vision of the SK lineup as they've walked over a ward. You can see that on the ping. So FNatic have got the information advantage in this particular battle right now. They're going to try and get into position, and there are some wards left for SK. So we may actually see a very exciting level 1. Currently, FNatic have the positional advantage as well as the vision advantage, because that ward that they had in the bush, they can see Nif. If Enrated gets a good Blitzcrank hook, they might be able to pick up first blood, and this is a very tense start. Enrated's going to go.
Oh, he's going to go for the hook, and he will pull Nif through. There's an instant flash away from Nif, and wow, he was hovering over that button. You could tell the speed that he hit that there was top-notch from Nif, just saved his own life.
So he had to burn Flash to do that. What that means is if he gets caught out by a hook in lane, he is going to go down. He has no safety now in order to get away. We did see Enrated burn his Ignite in that particular engage, so they did trade Summon Spell for Summon Spell, but you'll gladly trade that escape ability of Flash over Ignite. And they've caught Candy!
Candy Panda getting hooked in there as well, and he will have to burn his Flash just to get away from that side. There's a queue of Yellow Star already connecting in, so flashes burnt for both Candy Panda and Nifia. This is not the start they were looking for. As you can see, Hercubot has stolen that red buff away now. We'll see if FNatic with Mundo go into the top side of the SK jungle to try and do the same.
Very well played by SK. They actually come out better in this situation because they've lost. Did they lose red buff? I'm trying to see. Yes, so they did lose red buff as well. Traded it back and forth, but they've got positional advantage, and the pressure's now on Yellow Star and Enrated in the top lane. As we see Hercubot level 2, can he get the taunt onto Soaz? Soaz does have flash available and blows that very early.
Yeah, was trying to dodge there from Hercubot, but in the end decided using the flash was going to be safer at that moment. I apologize for wondering if Mundo was going to take the red buff from the SK side. He'd already taken it that little bit earlier on from that one, just so that we're up to date with that. There's another pull, going to land in onto Nif. No flash available. Exhaust goes down. Have they got enough damage? One more Q. There it is. First blood, but Yellow Star going very low. Candy Panda goes in. Final auto attack will get the kill. Well, Cannon Rated, he's surely not got the damage here as Blitzcrank. Gonna do a lot of damage there, but not quite finish off. 1-1.
So they trade 1 for 1. First blood does go to Urgot. And what I was trying to say is that in this particular matchup, Urgot needs to get ahead and stay ahead. If he starts falling to the Varus Janna lane, he's not going to be able to get tanky enough to survive the damage, and you need to have a tanky, beefy Urgot in this situation. He's trying to rush what looks like a Brutalizer, as the Rocket Grab just misses there from Enrated.
And just flashing by. Candy Panda obviously ready for that one, as Hercubot will be taking his first blue of the game. Obviously he stole the red buff away from FNatic in reaction to his own red buff being taken earlier. Mid lane, 19 to 16 here. We did see the Elixir plus pot start coming out for Xpeke, and there is the first pink ward of this game going down for Enrated to clear out vision of the Tribush.
The pink war has begun between supports, and we'll see who can control the vision. Xpeke with Ezreal in this mid lane against Lux has the ability to actually deal damage even if he gets caught by a light binding, depending on the distance between himself and Ocelot. And of course that Mystic Shot range is particularly good. So we'll see how he continues to skill up that Ezreal and build, but at the moment he's preferring his Q over his W, which does make you think it might be an AD build.
Yeah, exactly my thoughts from that one as well. Down in the pink wall, as we talked about earlier on. Nif wins that miniature battle, as we are going to see the pull coming here on towards Candy Panda. He's going to be locked on, but do they have the damage to finish off? Yellow Star just backing away. Howling Gale comes in. Barrier. There is barrier used, and Yellow Star now the one in trouble, but they've backed away from him. Ignite comes down, the shield come out from Janna, and that's surely going to save Candy Panda. Really tense stuff here in this top lane.
Ladies and gentlemen, a Classico is here, and it is delivering already. 1-1, both AD carries are low. Exhaust and Flash is burned for Yellow Star, but Enrated does have his Flash available. Hercubot was putting himself in a position to maybe pick an engagement, but he decided to back away. They know that FNatic do not have vision of that Tribush, and thanks to Candy Panda's potions and getting some additional HP back with those Doran's Blades, he is sustaining better than that of Yellow Star, and that's obviously going to play into his favor.
Insane start to this one, as we'd probably expect from El Clasico. As I said earlier on, we've seen this mid lane now. Peke got the advantage in terms of mana here. Ocelot's running dangerously low with that one. Does have that Fairy Charm for a little bit of regen in there, but it's already going up towards a 10 CS lead for that Ezreal in there, as Kevin here going to go on towards Soaz, gets the stunning, dashes away.
Well played by Soaz, landing that cocoon, immediately dissipating the amount of pressure that could come down from Kevin's Aurelia. And it's a lane matchup we haven't looked at too much right now, but Soaz is falling behind. He's 15 creeps behind that of Kevin's Aurelia already, and his lane is actually pushing. So I imagine he's spending more time focusing on last hitting, trying to get that neurotoxin down onto Kevin, than he actually is spending on CSing, and that may come back to bite him in the butt.
One thing that we've not really seen is the junglers. They've been very, very quiet up until now with Cyanide on Mundo. Hercubot on Shen spending a lot of time getting themselves farmed here in the jungle. So we'll see how, once they start to make appearances on these lanes, how that one is going to go. Enrated just getting some wards down. The pink ward in that Tribush obviously means that he doesn't want to risk going into that one. And we saw earlier on, you know, we can never underestimate the power of that Janna shield, as well as we are going to see Soaz here putting down good damage onto Kevin, but no kill.
Very well played there by Soaz as well, timing his cocoon and his attack perfectly with the entire minion wave sitting there to back him up. So he got all that additional free damage. Enrated and Yellow Star sitting on level 4 right now to the level 5 and 3 of Nif. So there's that little disparity. Soaz going to go on Kevin.
He's going to go in there again, but has he got the damage? Didn't really have the mana to keep that one up there. But every little bit helps in a lane, in a 1 versus 1 lane like that. If you can force someone to back, you're already doing a good job of things. As Hercubot will be getting that red buff here on the top side. Of course, was stolen away for the first time, which forced him to reactionary go over to the FNatic side of the map and take theirs. Yellow Star, along with Enray, to just make sure that they don't miss a single bit of CS there underneath that tower. There's the grab coming out. Doesn't land.
So Nif playing Janna's got the benefit of the passive, and we see they've gone onto Candy Panda, going to start chasing those corrosive charges down.
But can he put the damage out that he needs here? And the range of that when you're locked on is obviously the big advantage that you've got. The Yellow Star can back off a little bit, but still put out that damage that Varus can't.
So what you've seen in that particular situation was Nif literally just walked away from Enrated's Blitzcrank. With his W and his passive, he gets a lot of passive movement speed that just allows him to kite and move away from the melee blitz. If they manage to get the slowdown from Urgot, from his E, that'll allow them to chase. But in this particular situation, Yellow Star coming off worse for wear because he's very unhealthy.
There is blue buff going over on towards Peke. He's got Vamp set to, still got the elixirs. Here comes the laser from the side. Ocelot going to snipe down Yellow Star there. As they came, they did the damage onto him in that top lane. Ocelot coming in perfectly aimed down for a kill for SK Gaming. Puts them in the lead now.
This is exactly what we've seen out of SK when they beat Gambit last week. They made plays by coordinating their ganks and moving around the map. You've seen Ocelot, he had Final Spark, he didn't use it in the mid lane, he didn't use it to CS or to farm. He moved up, waited for the Chain of Corruption to land and blew them up. Cyanide's ghosted in for this one.
Let's see if they can get in there. Janna will put the shield on, but actually the cleaver just didn't quite land there, max its range out, and they will walk away from that one. But that's one thing that we always talk about with Ocelot, his strength at moving around the map and really helping his teammates out. The great thing about Final Spark is because of the range, you don't always have to be right up there in the lane. If you manage to get the kill like that, it's a bonus or even an assist. You go back in and you carry on farming.
And of course, we are on 3.5 balance patch, so this is live. In terms of the Lux Laser, it does have a slightly higher cooldown at ranks 2 and at ranks 3. I believe it's 5 seconds and then 10 seconds. So it's not a big change, but it is a little less as Pekka gets caught out. He's not going to burn his cleanse for that because he knows Final Spark was used fairly recently.
He is, however, 20 CS ahead of Ocelot right now. And that kill will have made up for that somewhat, as the blue buff will go over onto Lux, and the ping's actually coming down there just to ward them off somewhat. So this bottom lane be fairly quiet after that first bout of fighting, and Elise with the Giant Spell in there, Cutlass in there for Irelia, which is, you know, not the way that we saw really Irelia being built last time around, but that's really before that Blade of the Ruin King became popular.
Yeah, so it synergizes very well with Irelia's kit, has the ability to, you know, apply the on-hit slow, all of the attack speed just scales with the heat and style. Then you've got your true shot, your true damage from the W, as well as the percentage HP from the item itself once it's completed. So it's a good pickup. What we did actually see in the middle lane, Ocelot's Final Spark is off cooldown. He spammed that out in the mid lane just to get vision on Dragon. He was afraid that FNatic were trying to pull a sneaky move. And it's just showing he's not afraid to use that ability to scout.
Yeah, I think that was due to the fact that we saw Soaz move up the river from his lane. It's down in the bottom, actually. We are seeing some damage being exchanged as Kevin is going to go in here on towards Soaz, but in the end, will back away. Did finally use that elixir, by the way.
Now, we do see that Soaz still has his Ignite available, and Kevin is going to be sustaining by auto-attacking those creeps. If Kevin stays relatively low and Soaz feels he can get the damage done, he might go aggressive. You can see he's hiding in the bottom lane, and Cyanide is sniffing around here as well. He doesn't have Ghost, but he does... Oh, he hasn't even got his ultimate available either for that movement speed. Soaz is going to go in here.
Kevin thought he might think about that one, but wise decision not to. We do have Cyanide waiting up on that top side, so Kevin has to be relatively careful here, though. I think if he turns around, he probably could end up killing Soaz either way from this one, depending on how things go, but still Cyanide waits, and in the end, I think they made the decision that nothing's going to come of that one. He will back off.
Wise play from Kevin. There just something wasn't sitting right with him, so he decided not to go aggressive under the turret, and he didn't have his ultimate available either to get that sustain on a tower dive, so he decides to play it passive and safe. In the middle lane, Pekka's finished off his Berserker's Greaves as well as that Bilgewater Cutlass, so it does look like he's going to go for AD. What this tells me is that the damage sources are going to be coming from Xpeke and a little bit from Yellow Star, and the rest of the team is going to potentially build fairly tanky and try play the protect the Ezreal type of game. So we'll see how this pans out for them. At the moment, FNatic a kill down, but 300 gold in the lead thanks to some good CS numbers.
Oh, here we go. We are going to see Stan United using good stun comes down. Can they get the taunt in? Oh, not quite. The repel coming down. Soa's going to come right back on top of him. And it looks like they're going to dive straight under the tower with this one. Kevin actually tanking it up there. The Ignite is ticking away. Will he go down? That one auto attack almost saves him, but the minion will get the kill. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, Candy Panda forced to use barrier. He's going to be exhausted here, but can they get those final hits off? There's a knock-up. Yellow Star had already turned away. He will flash away from this one as the Howling Gale goes past. Now Nif getting very aggressive for this one. He wanted to try and get in there. No kills, but everything blown in top lane.
Ocelots does have Final Spark available, was thinking about moving up there towards the top lane, and every single ability and summoner spell blown, with the exception of the flashes from SK. FNatic caught the SK members up, but were unable to convert that to a kill. Look at Ocelot's position. He's going to try and look for a laser. Or is he going to back away? He's thinking about it. He wants it, but he's not 100% sure where to go.
Yeah, they don't have that vision down there that they need. That may change now, though, as SK push on towards that turret. Ocelot is currently doing the raids as the first turret of the game goes down for FNatic in that bottom lane. That will be quickly cancelled out here in the top, though.
So in terms of CS, this is actually a big lead in this top lane. Candy Panda 112 to the 80 of Yellow Star. It's a very, very big difference between these two, and Varus scales so well. Pekka's gone aggro on Ocelots.
Yeah, he's not messing around. He's going to keep pushing in for this one. Can he get the kill? Oh, flash away from the True Shot barrage by Ocelot. That keeps him alive, but again, flash burn, always an important thing to have, especially when you're, you know, an Ezreal. You've got that arcane shift built in there. As the laser comes across, that won't connect.
No, that was just something looking to CS, clear out the wave before Ocelot decides to back off and spend some money. What we do see is the first Blade of the Ruined King has been completed by Candy Panda literally a millisecond ago. We're going to see multiple Blades in this particular matchup. I think the Ruined King had a pretty big stockpile of them because everyone in this matchup is going to have one in their dog. We see Soas in the bottom lane decided to go for that Sunfire Cape first to survive the auto attack damage of both Varus and Irelia.
Yeah, and one thing that really fits with that whole Ezreal combo in there is, of course, that Urgot is going to be very tanky as that game goes along. So really will work out, or should work out. I'm not going to say will, because I don't want to curse anyone in this one, as we are going to see Candy Panda locking down Xpeke. Can he get away from the binding? Yes, he can. And there is the beauty, again, of that arcane shift. The pressure now coming in towards Enrater, but do they have the damage? Hercubot trying his best to get in. SK start to back away. Almost everything landing there. Enrater trying to get out, but Kevin will pick up the kill just in time for a red buff as well.
SK Gaming had to burn a fair amount for that little kill, but they do manage to pick it up, and they steal away the red buff. What it also means is they now have a numbers advantage if they want to force Drake. Instead, SK decide to defend this mid turret, and you can see Soa's getting some vision on the Dragon Pit to see, well, is SK Gaming going to go in for this one? Pekka may try for a True Shot Barrage steal, and we'll have to see how they play it out as SK have begun the Dragon. Like we said, they have a numbers advantage, they have a vision advantage, but FNatic are starting to collapse around the sides.
As the volatile Spiderling crawling out and doing the damage to SK Dragon is still going on right now. Are they going to be able to pick this one up? Yes, they will. Smited away by Hercubot. Solid pickup, but Kevin now chasing into Yellow Star. Chances of Urgot escaping that are 0, so let's get back down onto this bottom side. There's the repel coming in. They switch their focus onto Ocelot, who lands a light binding there on towards Soaz, and you can see how low each individual member got there, but that also tells you that the focus wasn't brilliant from FNatic.
FNatic splits up. They didn't have the same target in mind. They couldn't land all the damage into the same person. They positioned themselves to the side here against Ocelot, so if Enrated can get a good rocket grab, they are positioned to jump on them, but look at Soaz. He's hiding in the grass like a tarantula. He gets a cocoon.
Gets the cocoon, and surely enough damage to get the kill, and Enrated pulls him out there. I thought he was going to get the knock-up just to steal away the kill, but they leave it for Xpeke. Good man to have it on, and that will be the outer middle turret. A valuable pickup here for FNatic.
What a great combo of abilities. Soaz comes just from out of vision. At the same time that's going on, Candy Panda forces down the bottom lane, but Kevin is out for blood. The Mystic Shot did not connect from Pekka, so he's not 100% sure that Kevin is there, although they did see him in the ward, so his guesstimate work will let him know.
Bottom lane was being pressured by Candy Pan here as well, taking over half the HP away from that turret. But Cyanide did come into cover, and look at this. Kevin's already taken down Yellow Star once, and he wants another go at him. Let's see if he can go straight over the wall. Xpeke just off to the south.
Now, if we take a look, the Blade is available, as is Ignite for Kevin. So if he does decide to go in there, he's got a lot of damage that he can put down, but not a lot of CC. And I think that was the main problem for Kevin. He could jump on and get Yellow Star low, but all it would do is reveal that he's out of position without any backup from the rest of his team. And crucially, Hercubot does not have Stand United available, so he had no worldwide backup from that ability.
Yeah, that's a reason that he's not going to bother with that one. Let's have a look down the other items that are coming in at this stage. We do have that Sunfire kit for Elise that was done earlier. Blade of the Ruin King, of course, for Irelia. Let's focus in onto the AD carries, or what the AD carry players are playing in this game, at least, I think we could say. Giant Spell, Brutalizer, Tio Ninja Tabi, pretty standard stuff there for an Urgot. He's 129 to 135 CS behind currently to the Varus of Candy Panda with the Blade of the Ruin King already built up in there with the Berserker Greaves. You can see that the gold is within about 200.
Yeah, it's very close across the board. I mean, it's about 1,000 gold in total, and there is an additional tower picked up there for FNatic. So, we'll see how it begins to match up. In terms of itemization, however, Peke just got a nice big power spike. He spent close to 3 grand on items. Finished that Blade of the Ruin King, as well as picked up a pickaxe. Unfortunately, FNatic are completely out of position, and they are nowhere near that bottom lane turret. SK pick it up completely for free. What FNatic have decided to do, they want to try pressure this top lane. And if you look at the positioning there of Cyanide and Soaz, they either want to jump onto Kevin or they're looking for Ocelot because they feel they've got the vision advantage. Yep,
and they are still in there. As we see the push from SK coming down, there's a true shot barrage to try and force SK to back away from this tower. Xpeke actually did get hit there with the Howling Gale. Meanwhile, the 2 invaders in that top side of the jungle came away to the outer turret, managed to pick that one off. So that's a 3-2 turret lead for FNatic, but they're probably going to need to help here on the bottom.
Now, Enrated was positioning just around the side, so if the SK members had continued to pressure, they may have been caught out by the rocket grab. What we do see is red buff has actually been picked up by Kevin. That hasn't been allowed to linger because they're afraid of it being stolen away. Having lost that top tower and knowing that 3 members of FNatic are in the area, they just want to secure the buff for their team and not give away any objectives to their opponents. Now, all of a sudden, the duo lane of Xpeke and Enrated, it's a sentence I never thought I'd be saying, is pushing on this bottom lane with Ezreal and Blitzcrank. And you're going to have a straight-up battle like we've seen in many solo queue matches. Blitz Ez versus Janavarus.
And the story's worse if you factor in the fact that Ezreal is at almost 200 CS right now, 100 pickaxe, Berserker Greaves, and that Blade of the Ruin King going head-to-head there. So that's something they need to be a little bit careful about in that one. But things starting to quieten down somewhat as we hit that 20-minute stage. You've just seen the second Locket being picked up, this time over with the jungler for FNatic. What else do we have really of note? Not too much in there, although we have to say, looks needlessly large rod added in now to that Athene's Unholy Grail is a nice spike of damage.
So with Ocelot, he's going to be looking to target either Soaz or Peke in these engagements because they're going to be the squishier ones. At the moment, Soaz has HP, but not a lot of magic resist, so he can be chunked down. Outside of that, I don't see him being able to blow up Mundo, Urgot, or Blitzcrank. And that's one thing that does play into FNatic's favor. If they can survive the burst because they've got naturally beefy and tanky champions, it's obviously going to help them out. And that's going to help Yellowstar a lot because he's just got that Randian's Omen. So even if Irelia, Shen, and Varus get in range, they're going to have their movement speed debuffed, their attack speed debuffed, and Varus, who does not have any additional attack speed right now, his damage will be crippled quite significantly.
Candy Panda still pushing out, though. Needs to be careful because he is isolated from the rest of his team. FNatic, of course, pushing this middle lane out. They'd already taken previously that outer turret there, so there's nothing to fall back on from SK. And as such, they're not going in. As a true shot barrage comes across, doesn't quite catch Candy Panda. Well, let's see if Soaz can actually land the cocoon. It was very close, but no cigar.
No cigar this time around. Candy Panda literally just walks away from that one. And you can see that Cyanide and Enrated, they're hanging around in the jungle. Cyanide stood on top of a ward, so SK have full understanding that FNatic are trying to be sneaky. And at the moment, they have the vision advantage. So as he's been caught up, and there's 4 SK.
Here we go. Stand United are going to be used. He's locked down by Varus. Ocelot picks up his second kill of the game. And That's all just about vision there. SK had the tabs on him the entire time, and it comes perfectly in time for that Dragon spawn.
The last time FNatic lost a member, it was in the bottom lane. It almost resulted in that Dragon engagement. This time round, it's a 4 versus 5. We might see a true shot barrage attempted steal just because of Pekka's positioning. Actually, it's just going to be a mystic shot to try and be super cheeky. He doesn't manage to pull it away. In actual fact, Hercubot missed the smite there because it was Ocelot that picked up the last hit.
Yeah, Hercubot decided, I don't need to use smite. No need for that one. We'll save it for later to maybe steal away something else. But I see there, XPK going back. I'm guessing that he's got a decent stack of gold to be spending on his next trip home. So yeah, 1,800 there, you see. So he'll be picking up a VF sword next into the mix from that one.
So he's probably going to make his way towards that Infinity Edge, and then obviously have the attack speed from the Blade of the Ruined King, as well as his passive Rising Spell Force, which is always going to be beneficial. He is definitely the damage dealer for the team, and it's going to be up to Cyanide, Yellowstar, and Enrated to effectively run interference and protect them in engagements. If Enrated can get a good hook, they've got quite a fair amount of CC to lock them down. Hook into knock-up, into swap. You've got the cocoon as well, but there are a lot of them are skill shot based, which does imply that if somebody's quick enough, like we've seen from Nip earlier, he can flash to safety. FNatic are grouped up as 4 or 5 in the middle now, and SK will have to be on their toes to defend this.
Pushing in, there's the grab, and he will actually land onto Hercubot. He's in a lot of trouble here. He's not tanky enough, surely, to survive this one as he tries to get away. He's going to be swapped out there, which wasn't needed in the end. They got that kill, and that will be a 1 for 0 for FNatic, at least for now, because Kevin is chasing him down towards Cyanide. Can they lock him up? Yes, Kevin gets that kill. There's the repel coming out from Elise, but Yellowstar now is in trouble as well, as Candy Panda hammering away from them. He's going to be exhausted. That will save him for a while, but it's a double kill for Kevin as they chase off towards XPK. He will try to get away, but gets slowed double times from this. Has to cleanse that one off, and he's still trying to run here from Candy Panda.
He's got no mana.
Who's still giving chase. Yeah, indeed, no mana left here for XPK. Can he escape? Ocelot going to come in from the side of this one. There's the laser. It misses, but it won't matter. It's Nip that picks it up.
They managed to pick up 1 for 3 in that trade. FNatic blew so many spells and ultimates and abilities just to get Hercubot out of the engagement, and that just meant that Kevin and Candy Panda had a free ride to clean house. Because of all the work that SK did in this bottom lane, Candy Panda is going to pick this tower up for free, and without any threat of reprisal, he's just going to pick it up and back away. Great play for SK Gaming. They take a commanding lead right now as far as gold is concerned, and in terms of the team fights, they're in a stronger position, but they want Candy.
Has Candy Panda overstayed his welcome? You can see a speedy Mundo coming in from that top side. One spear, one axe will be enough there, and it just ranges out before it can land, and he will walk away. Jana coming to do a bit of safety work on him as well. SK leading in the kills right now at 8-4.
And so has burnt his flash for that as well, so he literally used everything possible to try and catch Candy Panda down. Very good team fight for SK, and if FNatic continue to use all of their abilities on the tank, on the support jungler tank, they will lose the engagements. They need to kill either Kevin or Candy Panda in those engagements, because Ocelot, they can survive his burst. He's not as much of a threat to them as the constant auto attacks that will come down from the other two.
Well, I would agree with you about 20 seconds ago, but now he's picked up that Rabadon's death cap. Might change things somewhat. But you're totally right in that last one. I mean, Hercubot, yes, he died, but he soaked up so many abilities from it that SK were like, well, they've got nothing to kill us right now. We can just chase them down and do exactly that.
And the chasing power of 2 Blade of the Ruined Kings, Light Binding, plus the Blade Surge as well as the Equilibrium Strike from Aurelia, her Q and her E, plus the slow from Janna and the knockup. That's a never-ending chase team that can literally stick to you wherever you are, because every single one of their teammates or abilities has some form of crowd control or slow in their back pocket.
So let's have a look at some of the other items being picked up now. Giant's Belt and the Warden's Mail coming out for Irelia. On the other side, we are going to see another Giant's Belt. Well, I say another Giant's Belt. The first Giant's Belt for Shen added into it there. Haunting Guys for Elise. So generally a step up to the last time we looked at it. Also that Aegis of the Legion we should point out for Blitzcrank.
So he's the only one with an Aegis right now. Shen can decide to go for an Aegis with that Ruby Crystal and Null Magic, or he could go for a Warmogs. At the moment, Soaz is going to go toe-to-toe with Kevin, and I don't think he can win this fight.
Well, especially not with the fact that Varus and Shen are both coming in from this bottom side. Is he going to die? No, not quite. He gets a repel off there, and yeah, he gets killed there in the end. Shen coming in from the top. Don't think he really needs conceded there from Hercubot, but he didn't want that to happen as they go in towards Ocelot. There's a big monsoon.
Oh!
Nif gets pulled out of it as the cleaver will land as well. And that's two very nicely sewn up kills from FNatic.
So they got the Stand United in the top lane. That forced Shen out of the fight. As soon as that ability was down, the rest of FNatic said, go, go, go. They picked a fight in the mid lane. They pick up 2 kills, and now a 4 versus 3. They want this inner turret. N-Rated is just running interference. He's got a rocket grab available, and if anybody is in range of that Piltover Customs Blitzcrank, they're in trouble.
Yeah, and that's the danger of it, you know. Nif came in to save with the monsoon. He gets pulled out. Thank you very much as Hercubot does get pulled in. He managed to get the taunt off as the ultimate comes out of Candy Panda. But who are they focusing here? Urgot and Mundo are both very, very tanky into this one. Xpeke will go in, couple of hits, Arcane shift away, and now Kevin and Candy Panda, will they chase? No.
They were thinking about that one. The rest of the team was alive, and Ocelot could have chased and put down that laser if they got some damage down. Instead, they decide to back away, but FNatic, they did not have their eyes on the prize, and they were looking in different directions, different objectives and focus. They did also get the Chain of Corruption out of Candy Panda under the tower, so if they pick another engagement in the next minute or so, they have that advantage. Crucially for FNatic, they still have this mid turret up, which you can see SK are immediately going, well, we'd really like to get rid of this right now.
Well, Dragon is also now back on the field. That will be a prime target, especially when you look at the gold totals. 39.4 to 39.4. Very, very even here, as that Dragon will be started by SK Gaming and rated off to the side, looking for a cheeky pull over the side.
This is the first time the FNatic have had a 5-man in the Dragon Pit to battle off against SK. They've been picked off before, and it's cost them. You can see Kevin is out of position. The rest of SK may be forced to try save him.
FNatic coming around the side. Will the cocoon land here for Soaz? And flashed away from there by Kevin. Didn't want to risk that whatsoever. The angle was good. Not sure if the range was there, but either way, that flash will be burnt out there. And SK, now they're caught out of position here off towards the side. Interesting to see whether FNatic back off to Dragon now.
It does look like they've done so. They didn't have Pekka there either, so it was a 4 versus 5, which is why FNatic were really just trying to force them backwards. Crucially, Infinity Edge has now been picked up, so Pekka has an item advantage over his, let's call it opponent Candy Panda, who's only got the pickaxe and that BF sword. Once again, we see the stalemate in the river. This time round, Soaz is a little out of position. He's going to be required to hot-foot it down. The rocket grab goes out and doesn't manage to catch Candy Panda, but FNatic want this fight.
FNatic starting to work in there. Yellow Star, now even though technically the AD carry, he could go in there. He's very tanky, but he gets chunked down by the laser. Will he get finished here? Kevin's right in on top of him. There's a Randuin's going to be used. Stand United will be coming in here as well. Nif going very, very low. Doesn't need much more. Soaz will get the finisher, but Soaz himself is forced to flash away over the top. Candy Panda will give chase, picks up the kill, and that will be a 2-for-1 for SK.
2 for 1, and I didn't see if the Dragon went down. It did not, so the Dragon is still available. FNatic took way too much damage way too early, and Yellow Star couldn't even get his hyperkinetic position reverser off. He just got bursted down with all of that HP, but he needs magic resist. Null Magic Mantle will help a little bit, but it's not going to be enough to survive that Deathcap Sorcerer's Shoes Lux.
Yeah, and that was half the problem, that Yellow Star was destroyed so early on in that fight. I said that, you know, because he is that tanky, he could maybe just get in there first, and, well, apparently not for that one. As the Dragon will be started here by SK again.
So we see that FNatic once again, 4 versus 5 on the map when Dragon is going down. It will be picked up by SK yet again, but they still only have a 2,000 gold advantage. Because of the map presence and the roaming, it's allowed FNatic time to CS and to farm. Their top laner has 40 CS more. Their mid laner has 50 CS more. It's only the AD carries of Urgot and Varus that are, you know, in favor of SK Gaming right now. Very, very close game, and we've seen engagement victories for both teams in these little skirmishes. But in that big 5-on-5 team fights, it appears that SK simply have a stronger team.
It certainly looks that way. We've got Oracles coming now onto the map. Cyanide is going to be clearing out the SK ward on that Baron pit. One can assume that Nif, there he is, also has that Oracle elixir running and will be clearing things off. Obviously, doesn't want Hercubot to be having that that Oracle again. We saw how many wards he walked over in that last game. Nif taking that job back for this one. There is Kevin pushing out this top lane as well. He's currently 5-1-3. We've commented before that we have some top Irelia players. You know, you look towards Wicked, for example, for that one. But Kevin's really the only one who's dared to bring Irelia to the table on more than one occasion.
and he's making it work. That's the key thing. He's playing the champion, playing very aggressive with the champion as well, and actually building differently. Like I said, you know, in the opening of the show, that he does or has tended to build very tanky. In this particular engagement, he's going a bit more aggressive. Enrated's popped the overdrive. He's trying to get in range. You see how powerful that Howling Gale is, just immediately countering the ability to land hooks. The rest of FNatic still want this fight, and once Cyanide joins the party in the mid lane, you can expect him to go in.
FNatic just being forced back there. See the Q landing from Candy Panda on towards Xpeke, but they can quite easily fight that back with that Infinity Edge, with the Blade of the Ruined King as well. Ezreal does hit hard. He's got 300 CS at this point as well. And if we look over, that Black Cleaver added in for Urgot certainly helps things out as well. So, where's the next fight going to be coming in this one? Because right now, half of the map each.
There's no better way to put that, actually. They've got half the map each, and look at SK Ocelot's position. He's waiting to get that light binding on his half of the map if FNatic decide to step over the threshold of that safety limit. We see Peke once again using True Shot Barrage just to clear out a wave and try to get them some, you know, a lane control in terms of the minions. And decides he wants to spend some money. The rest of SK are close, but it turns out they want this fight. The hook goes out. It doesn't manage to catch Candy Panda. He manages to live another day. While that hook is down, you can see SK immediately. They turn on the pressure and they push forward towards FNatic.
Yeah, that's really the only thing that they need to be super afraid of from, you know, decent long range. Obviously, Soaz could lock them down after that as well.
The Cocoon,
as I'm just talking about it. Ocelot here, going to be getting caught out. Stan United going to come in. Will it be quick enough, though? Yes, it will. Hercubot comes down, but Soaz will get the kill. Kevin is right in the middle of the rest of them here as well. Have they got enough damage to finish off Kevin? He gets a kill onto Urgot, but they're still pushing here. FNatic focusing in onto Candy Panda. He's going to get dropped by Xpeke, who records a double kill, and FNatic now with 4 men against 2 are going to head north to Baron.
That is the power of a pick, finding one person, blowing them up, and allowing the rest of your team to win. Yellowstar has unbound his R key because, again, he did not use his position reverser. My man, you've got Urgot, you need to use this ability. The rest of FNatic have decided to put pressure on Baron, while Peke is running interference on Hercubot, just trying to force him away. That's a 3-man Baron. Yellowstar's not going to respawn by the time it comes up. But a very good fight for FNatic, and the only reason it actually won was because they caught Ocelot very, very alone and away from the rest of his team.
Well, this game being super close, but that kind of echoes in your head the last time that these two are more than even once early on in the season when Ocelot said, you know, we always throw it against FNatic. We always throw it. This game wasn't as close cut. Sorry, was a lot more closely cut than the others that we've seen being turned around. But FNatic, we saw in that last team fight that they definitely can do the business. But that was also because Ocelot was caught out of position. I was just talking about how the fact that they probably don't need to be so scared now that Enrated grabs down. And just as I say it, we see Soaz managing to land the Cocoon.
The reason that they managed to do that as well, there was 3 wards in and around that banana bush, the river, and, you know, towards the side. So FNatic actually knew where SK Gaming was, and that actually allowed Soaz to just roam around to the side and manage to pick up that particular kill. So well played to them. We do see that Yellowstar has completed his Mirror Mana, and of course in this patch it has been rechanged so it deals physical damage as opposed to magic damage, and that is just going to make all of his abilities hit that much harder. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for something like maybe either a GA or a Hex Drinker from that Null Magic Mantle, because he needs some form of survivability against those Lux lasers.
Runic Bulwark also finished now for both teams, we should add. Obviously, the protection that gives in the end can't be underestimated, and as kind of an answer to that one as well, in those magic resistor bits that we've got in there, Void Staff picked up by Lux.
So whatever magic resist you do build up is just going to be shredded and negated by that item. FNatic, they are sitting in a bush which cost them a life and a dragon earlier in the game. They've learned from that past mistake and they are grouped up. Also, Soaz wasn't there, but they've gone in. Overdrive is up. Enrated is looking for that rocket grab. He's looking to pull somebody out, while the rest of his team lands a couple of auto attacks onto that turret. They did a good few hundred damage, but Peke maybe tanking it up for a little too long.
Well, he has managed to get all that back there after taking down the blue buffers. There we are going to see True Shot Barrage come across. It's mainly chunked against Nif there as they start to work in again for those hits. As we are going to see Ocelot pulled right back. He will flash away. Varus ultimate comes out, but can they follow in? Candy Panda backs off. This turret is going to be picked up by FNatic.
Very, very good play. They burned a couple of ultimates there. You expect he's going to have his available shortly thanks to the cooldown reduction from his Mystic shot. What they do force is Ocelot's flash. If he gets hooked again, he's going to be in trouble. Look at the play there from Peke. He positions under the tower, uses his Essence Flux on his teammates to not only increase his attack speed, but his teammates as well. And FNatic are not done with this push. Ocelot forced to clear minion wave with Final Spark.
There was the laser coming out, the cock not actually landing there, but they've taken the inhibitor turret. That leaves now that naked inhibitor for the taking here for FNatic. And SK say, well, we can't really defend this one. Hercubot, in the meantime, is actually pushing down the middle lane. This is, you know, a bit of a, if they can take it, a nice move out of Hercubot, but you have to wonder if the damage is going to be enough.
FNatic have split up a little bit. Enrated is about to be seen, and the rest of FNatic not really in position. Hercubot did not get that inner turret, and they literally gave up an inhibitor for free SK Gaming. So FNatic are going to be very happy with that trade. Baron Nashor is about to wear out for them if I look at the buff timer, and that just means they've positioned themselves very nicely that by the time the next Baron respawns, they'll still have super minions in this bottom lane.
There was a Dragon taken by Xpeke as well to add to that gold total. Almost a 5,000 gold lead. 500 wouldn't be that impressive. But they're certainly in the driving seat for this one. A lot of gold to spend as well for FNatic right now.
Not only that, look at the difference between Peke and Ocelot. 15,600 to 11,600 and almost 100 CS. So that gold difference of 5K, that's with Xpeke. It's in his pocket. He's the man with the bulging wallet right now, and he has just spent that on some more items. So incredibly powerful, strong player.
Let's see then where these next pickups are going to be. If we look down the list, we did see the Bloodthirster picked up by Xpeke. Randuin's Omen coming in for Mundo. So that's 2 Randuins we've got now on this FNatic side.
And I'm quite happy to see that a Chain Vest has been completed for Yellow Star. So it does look like he's going towards that Guardian Angel. I'm really straining my brain to think about the position reverser like that's been used in a team fight. Outside of the lane, I genuinely don't believe he's actually had one there. So if he gets the GA up and running, he's got that lease on life that he can come back to life and use the position reverser either pre or post GA proc. So I like the pickup from him once he gets enough money.
Yeah, and the thing is, they always pull someone in there right at the start. So he's kind of the second line there when they start to get involved, to pull that position reverser out and disable someone for that amount of time to see if they can get through the attacks. As Henrated here charging up through the jungle, sticks a ward down.
The ward, if that had come out like a second or two earlier, he would have actually seen Nif and been able to go for the rocket grab, but he didn't actually have vision of Nif. The rest of FNatic, they've completely zoned out SK. They pick up their 7th tower of the game. Super minions are pushing down the bottom lane. It's about to get onto the Nexus, and Hercubot is the man that has been said, defend the base, man. You need to do this. The rest of FNatic, they want to fight up top.
We saw Kevin trying to get in there for that one, but they can't afford to do something uncoordinated here. From SK's perspective, it's got to be perfect as the hook comes in. Not quite landing, though. Xpeke gets another couple of hits off onto the turret.
The people in the audience all clinching in unison. Ooh, as that rocket grab almost catches out. For the time being, FNatic have got this tower down to half, and they continue the pressure. The amount of sustain that Peke's got with that Bloodthirster and the Blade of the Ruined King means whatever tower damage he takes, he simply heals it back off for the minions. Enrated's going forward and look for the grab. Can he hook anybody? They're going for the second inhibitor, and he still hasn't used that ability, but SK, they picked the fight!
They're going to go in for this one. Cyanide will use that Randuin's, but where is the kill's going to come? Oh my god, Nif just knocked them out of position there of the laser. There is a position reverser coming in from Yellow Star. You can see how tanky he is as a true shot barrage comes across. Candy Panda falling very low. Kevin low, Enrated low. Everyone's low in that middle of the fight there. But you can see FNatic are the ones being chipped away at. Double kill coming out for Varus. Peke going to try and escape. He will take down Varus, but the rest of the team come in after a bit of healing there for Kevin. He's going to try and chase out. Ocelot is there with him as well. Can they catch up with Mundo? Can they catch up with Soaz here? And, well, it doesn't look like it for now, but that laser is going to be coming off cooldown here in just a second. Ocelot may choose to use that on the top side here.
He's going to need more than just the laser. Cyanide's got 1200 HP. The rest of SK are trying to position. They think Baron's coming up, and it will be in 3 seconds. Will Cyanide stick around? The end of that engagement was a 1-for-3, and Kevin just went Ultra Mega Man mode. He took on 3 members of FNatic alone. Not only did he survive, he picked up the fight. Dr. Mundo wants more. Can he steal? Cyanide is probably famed for more Baron steals than any other jungler in the scene, but he doesn't have flash to get in there. We'll see if he's going to decide to go in for this.
Well, there is a ward there at the back, and it looks like he is going to pop the ultimate. He's going to go in for it. Oh, he's not quite getting it, and that will surely be his life coming in from this one as well. He is pretty damn tanky, though. He's trying to get away from it.
Super Minions are on the base, and now Soaz is going to run interference. If they can delay enough for Super Minions to pick up one turret, that is going to be a very big victory. Unfortunately, Soaz does decide to back away. He's not finished just yet, though, as Enrated now joins the party. Soaz has interrupted the recall. Varus is left alone to defend the Nexus turrets while the rest of FNatic keep the pressure on. This game is far from over because SK had the advantage of Baron buff if they continue with the team fights.
There is Candy Pan, who's done a good job there of keeping those Super Minions off. Let's have a look at the Nexus turrets here and see how low they actually got during that one. You see the right-hand side one is down very, very low. So, no, obviously they are going to be reaching, but not exactly at lightning pace from that one. So SK need to stall here for as long as they can.
And crucially, the inhibitor respawned on the bottom lane, so it's bought them more time that the only lane with Super Minions, once they've killed off the last few, will be the top lane. And you've got that little bit of respite, a little bit of breathing room in your base to know that minions are not simply going to be bashing on your Nexus turrets. What we do see from FNatic is all of those chain vests. Look at how much armor they are all stacking up. They are more afraid of Kevin and of Candy Panda than that of Ocelot because they feel that they can position correctly or they can allow Nif's Howling Gale to knock him to safety when that final spark comes down.
Yeah, that was not the best coordinated ever, but actually SK, you know, they probably would have won that fight a lot earlier if that laser had actually connected at the time that it did. But we're talking about now a Baroned up SK Gaming, and as such, FNatic, you could probably have expected that. They're not pushing in quite so heavy right now. They're happy to soak up as much from the jungle as they can, push these lanes out constantly, and then wait until that Baron has timed out, and then maybe look for that all-important pick again.
Even stealing away the red buff. So now that they've got Super Minions in their opponent's base and they've got vision advantage, look at all those FNatic wards near and around the red buff. It's just going to allow them to control that side of the map. Peke has waited out this Dragon Pit for the full 30 seconds it took to spawn. He didn't quite have the exact timing on that, but nevertheless, he's going to take that away, increase that gold lead to a mere 4,000, which at this stage in the game is practically nothing. Everybody has sort of hit critical points in terms of their items, and every little bit is, of course, going to help. We do see his Yellow Star's Guardian Angel has been picked up, so he may actually be more of a factor in these team fights because he hasn't offered all that much outside of being a target to be shot.
And one thing we didn't talk about is the Quicksilver Sash in there for Varus as well. And you know, you look down that FNatic team, and as the AD carry, you pretty much need to cleanse all the Quicksilver Sash in there.
Yeah, and it's also one of those things that now Yellow Star can effectively not target Candy Panda with that flash position reverser because of how powerful the QSS is. So Candy Panda's got that room of safety. He's had that for quite a while, but he hasn't quite been in a position where it's been the difference between life and death just yet. At the moment, the rest of FNatic, they're stacking up pretty much around this top side of the jungle because that's where most of their vision was accumulated. They knew where SK was because they've even got, those are SK wards in the bottom half of the jungle. And they're just playing it out slowly and passively. I imagine they just want to wait out the Baron buff to wear away before they pick a big fight.
Yeah, and SK from their side, they'll be wanting to make sure that that inhibitor comes up without them losing that one in the bottom lane, or maybe even more importantly, this inhibitor turret in that middle lane. That's surely a vital one for them, as we are going to see now them going in. Kevin actually diving right into the middle of the team. Stan United going to come out as well. The Randuin's going to be popped. The laser will hit 3 from FNatic. Yellow Star going low. Are they going to chase off to try and finish up? Look at Candy Panda. He's full HP as Yellow Star's Guardian Angel gets popped, but they finish him straight off after that one. And FNatic, after all that waiting, didn't wait long enough for the Baron buff to go down, and that's what I almost don't understand from that.
They managed to secure the tower. Xpec has been knocked up. The slow is there, and Kevin, he might be able to get the slow. The cocoon slows him down.
Running in still, though, here is Ocelot. He's going to get more damage in. SK have forced FNatic right away. Here comes a True Shot Barrage across, and it will not help off SK, who finally now that Baron buff has run out.
SK are so healthy after that entire engagement, but there are Super Minions on their top lane inhibitor, which has respawned. FNatic are just trying to interrupt them as much as possible to see if they can buy time for the minions to do the work. Luckily, Hercubot has been able to recall and get to safety. But again, we see one of the situations where SK, they win the team fight, but because of how little map control they have, they cannot convert it to anything. They can't even take their own buffs because they've spent so much time in their own base.
And they're kind of pushing out this bottom lane. They don't want to let FNatic have the chance to get in there and get rid of that inhibitor another time, as there is a ward cleared out. And FNatic obviously did a decent job of clearing the top side last time. SK, though, after forcing them back, have said we need vision back. We have to have vision in all sides of that jungle. They've managed to do that on this top line, on this top side, at least with almost a line defense of wards coming down to spot those FNatic positions. Baron is up in 2 minutes' time right now. SK, of course, have the perfect timing down on that one. FNatic as well will have seen it because, of course, Cyanide did go in there to try for the steal.
So they know roughly what the time is, and very crucially, both of Elise and Ezreal still have their GAs up and available. So even if they pick another big team fight, they'll have both of those damage-dealing sources have the ability to respawn. Previously, Yellowstar was, caught in no man's land, surrounded by 4 members of SK, and the rest of FNatic weren't really in a position to team fight that, which is why he died even after that ability was used, or the GA was used. So in this particular situation, it's going to be almost like a 7 versus 5. We do see that the Fura boots have been picked up for Xpeke, so just going to give him that temporary movement speed boost while he's auto-attacking his targets.
Which for Kiting is always a bit of a bonus to have in there. What else have we had picked up here? Static Shiv added in for Varus, which, when you've got lanes pushing against you, that Shiv is definitely not a bad item to have in there.
No, not at all. It's slightly different because Varus has got pretty good wave clear with his Piercing Arrow and his Hail of Arrows, so we do tend to see Phantom Dancer, especially when you consider he's got an Infinity Edge as well. But I feel like Candy Panda may be in a position where he's under pressure. He doesn't have enough mana to finish off the likes of a Phantom Dancer, and he's going to get that additional damage, that additional statistics that the Static Shift gives you right now. And, in a game that's this close and this tense, that little bit of magic damage may actually be the difference between securing a kill and, going down yourself.
20, or scratch that, 15 seconds until that Baron is back in play. FNatic starting to move in there. We have Shen in the top lane here with Hercule bot, and I have the feeling we're going to see a lot of jockeying for position, and Soaz going to get hit with a lot here. The ultimate comes down from Varus, but there is the repel coming in. Are they going to commit to this one? Kevin right in the middle, Soaz going low. Where is the laser from Ocelot? There it is. It lands only on Cyanide, not the target that it needed to hit, as we are seeing FNatic starting to push SK back. Soaz, though, will have his Guardian Angel pop. The focus turns on towards Yellowstar. There's the pull onto Ocelot, who's going to go straight down in this one, and that will be a 1-for-1 up until now. But is this one over? Howling Gale comes across the knock-in rated in the air. Kevin is still hanging around from this one, and FNatic have Xpeke, who's got the GA. Oh, flash away there from that grab by Varus. And what is the plan now? There's a true shot barrage coming over. Are FNatic going to look to push straight down this middle lane? And Rated is the one zooming in there. Of course, there are no inhib turrets left alive from this one. Looks like Enrated may try for the grab, and he pulls Kevin in there. He will get destroyed out by Soaz, and the rest of SK now definitely not safe, but FNatic more interested in taking the inhibitor.
And that's a 4 versus 3. They are low on HP, but the Guardian Angel is still available for Peke. Do they want to go for all 3 inhibs? That is the question. 28 seconds on Ocelot's respawn timer. The rest of the team is respawned. Chain of Corruption will be up very, very soon. Wisely, FNatic decide to back away. They'll clear out the jungle and then position for Baron. That whole thing started because SK were a little overzealous. They had positional advantage, they had vision advantage on the Baron pit, and they felt that that alone would give them the advantage in the team fight. Kevin, he channeled his inner Chuck Norris and took on 5 members of FNatic and got away with his life up until an inhibitor battle. And FNatic are really struggling to deal with him. And again, Yellowstar, way, way, way too late with that ultimate in the team fights.
And let's see, I mean, Ocelot's ultimate was held back as well, and it only hit the Mundo. We've seen what a difference that can make here, as Enrated is actually going to get the pull. It's onto Hercule bot, though. It's probably not even worth following up.
The psychological effect that that will have, though, of Hercule going, well, they hooked me, that means someone must be around, forces him to play defensive. FNatic have got great positioning on Baron, and they're trying to zone it out. Cyanide is dropped low. He does have his ultimate, which he's just activated. Baron is down to about 50%, and Peke is body blocking the members of SK. It looks like they're going to get this.
Baron is going very, very low here from this one. The ultimate of Varus won't connect. Baron still not been finished. There it is. FNatic pick up Baron. They turn around now as a laser comes across from Ocelot. There is a position reversal coming in, actually got knocked away from that one, but both teams are very low there. Lux going to kill Elise, and Rated going low as well. Where's the finisher? It's a double kill for Lux. Kevin low. There is the drop of Varus. Xpeke doing a lot of damage in here, though, with Yellow Star. Can they get the finisher? It will be a double for Xpeke as he chases down Ocelot. There is the Guardian Angel going to be popped, as Stan United comes in as well. The taunt lands perfectly. Xpeke will arcane shift away, but he gets shut down, and now Yellow Star in trouble, but he gets the kill in the end onto Ocelot. Yellow Star is still alive. Urcubot is very healthy, but the two of them just absolutely battering him away. He's been kited with the slow there off that cleaver, and they will pick up the kill in the end. Urcubot realizing he's got no damage whatsoever. Yellow Star and Cyanide finish it off. Have they, though, got the time to finish the game? It's 30 seconds until the first man of SK comes up here. Those inhibitor turrets, look at the heal there from Cyanide's ultimate. He goes up to full HP.
There is more than enough damage here from Cyanide and Yellow Star to finish this one out, but that has to be a record for one of the longest team fights in competitive League of Legends history. It just went back and forth and on and on. Crucially for Fnatic, they kept Yellow Star and Peke alive for the majority of that. They were able to put the damage down, which allowed both Cyanide and Yellow Star to clean up the fight. What a dramatic game. El Clasico, it really does deliver.
Did deliver indeed, and Fnatic now go 4-0 up in the European LCS this season against SK, and overall that woeful run continues for SK against Fnatic. 18 wins without a reply up until now offline. Fantastic game here. We're going to go over to the analysis to break this one down with Demon and Jason.
Wow, what a game, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic performance once again between Fnatic and SK Gaming, living up to El Clasico as it's been known. And well, the crazy score continues for Fnatic, but SK Gaming every single time take them for a run for their money. But it wasn't to be again, and poor Ocelot and crew, they get to that 40-plus minute mark, and it backfires every time they get an advantage.
Yeah, it was such a close game throughout the entirety of it, and also start off with action and ended with action with that invade coming out of Fnatic, the blitz pull on the Nif, and he ended up flashing that away, but it was just action left and right out of both teams, and you really have to give credit to pretty much everyone on every team because they played so well. In every team fight, as Quickshot was saying, they would last so long because they knew when to go back in, when to back out. And then, I mean, obviously, as we saw, Fnatic was able to topple them with Hercubot trying to, eventually with Hercubot trying to get those kills onto Yellow Star. Almost said Yellow Pete right there on Yellow Star, as he just could not catch up to him because of energy. Yeah,
superb stuff. So we're going to have one replay for you, and really, it was the fight at the end of the game. It was the decider. There were so many different replays we probably could have gone with. There was a number of fights in there. Kevin was a monster going in some of the fights. Sometimes the hooks were turning fights. Sometimes the cocoons were starting awesome fights. There were so many different plays. But really, I guess it was all about that end fight towards the Baron.
Yeah, so let's get the replay on the screen and just show you exactly what happened here. And we really have to give credit to Kevin quite a bit because every time in these team fights, he would always go into the backline of Fnatic and just force them away. So we're going to start the replay showing you that over on this top side, we saw Xpeke go over the wall and get Nif pretty low. So we're going to run the replay for a little bit here and just show you how it kind of develops. Because you see, SK coming from the side. They want to go for the engage. Unfortunately, Candy Petty misses his ultimate as Baron is already very low at this point. And because of that, they just, say, forget it. We were going to go in for it. We got to stop this Baron. We got to make something happen here as Hercubot. You see it's taken pretty low considering how tanky he is right off the bat. And then Nif, with the ultimate to knock them all away. But Fnatic's like, hey, we have you all low. We're just going to charge right down at you. And with those Randuin's Omen, with also unfortunately not doing enough damage to the entire team of Fnatic, they're able to just take them apart one by one. Let's go ahead and speed this up. And you see Kevin, I mean, he cannot be killed. He's just so tanky. Unfortunately, it does go down in the end, but Fnatic picking up the win right there. Very well played, considering how long these fights last, just the whole communication aspect of it, the whole knowing your limits as a champion, knowing your limits of your skills and your items you have, just made every team look good there.
Yeah, I mean, every fight was fantastic to watch, and you didn't know which way it was going to turn. And honestly, I don't think the players really knew either, because every time they went in for it, it was like, oh, maybe not, we should back out. No, we can go back in. We're all good. We're good.
Well, we
no,
get out.
Let's back out quick. Yeah, so many times they just weren't sure how it went. So we're going to get on to our MVP. And despite Fnatic winning, we are actually going to give MVP to Kevin, because he was an absolute beast for SK Gaming. And many of those fights, they began and ended with Kevin really just going went straight on 1v5.
And that was all due to how strong he got early game. He was against Elise, or Soaz on Elise. He was able to keep up in farm. He was able to pick up some kills, and that's what Aurelia does best. I mean, you see her in those fights, just keeping the entirety of Fnatic away. It allowed SK to pick up kills one by one against the tankiest members. And in the end, SK was able to hold on for quite a bit, but unfortunately that last fight just wasn't enough.
Yeah, so of course that does lead us to the interviews, and it is going to be Shox standing by with Cyanide from Fnatic.
Yes, I'm here with Cyanide. Now, Cyanide, Kevin told me beforehand, he said, we've got something special in store for Fnatic. Do you think they dropped that plan because you guys had something special in store, and what was the strategy exactly?
I have no plan. Like, I have no idea what their plan was, but so we just went for the Ezreal mid that we've been practicing a bit, so yeah.
And what about the choice for AD instead of AP Ezreal mid?
Because we already had a lot of AP damage with Mundo and Elise, we didn't think we would need any more AP damage since Urgot falls off a bit late game, so we just figured he can go AD.
Game was very close again, as always, against SK Gaming. No backdoor this time. You guys were looking like you were winning when you were pushing the top side, and then the Baron fight happened.
We got like really greedy for the inhibitor, which was a bad mistake from us. We almost lost the game. And yeah, we just greeded too much. And
what about Mundo as a jungler? We don't see him that often anymore.
I think it's fine if they have double tank. It wasn't the best pick, but most of my heroes were banned. Like Javan was banned, Volibear and Aces was banned, and I didn't really know what to play, so I was I can go Mundo. Like they had Varus. Normally Mundo is not really good against Varus, but yeah, I just picked it anyway. It went okay.
A very nice victory here against SK, who were on a roll. Now, what are your expectations going into the very important playoff weekend, next weekend?
We really have no expectations. We will see what the future brings us, and we will plan a lot for the playoffs.
Okay. Very philosophical. Thank you very much, Cyanide. Now, you've met the European All-Star team, so don't forget to give us your opinion on today's Twitter question, which is, which region will triumph at the All-Star tournament and why? Hit us up at LOL Esports, #LCS. Next up, can the Giants pull out one more upset victory against highly ranked Gambit, or will the Russian overlords manage to even the season series? Giants versus Gambit, coming up next.